أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ثم الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه الأخيار أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We continue with our lessons on دروس البلاغة. Inshallah, we take on the fifth part of I think that is even the last one, right? Under the أساليب الإنشاء. أساليب الإنشاء الطلبي. Okay, so under علم المعاني we are under الخبر والإنشاء, we are under الإنشاء, and then الإنشاء الطلبي, and then under الإنشاء الطلبي the fifth type, which is النداء. النداء is basically calling, and we've seen that with in Nahu. النداء where you say يا رضوان محمد أي بنية. Okay, those kind of things we call them, you call that style an-nida, and then they have their adawat. So you have the adatu nida, you have the munada, you have the munadi, which doesn't come in the sentence, and all that. So here he says wa amma nida'u, as for nida, فهو طلب الإقبال بحرف نائب مناب عدء. When we say an-nida, it is you requesting for somebody to approach. You requesting for something to approach. بحرف نائب مناب عدو. Using a harf that takes the position of ad'u. So what does it mean? Normally you say something like Ya Muhammad. Ya Muhammad. What do you mean? You mean ad'u Muhammad. Ad'u Muhammad. So the adawatu nida, they are actually taking the position of the fi'l nida, which is the ad'u. When you say Ya Muhammad, the meaning is ad'u Muhammad. So that is why it says it is the talabul iqbali بحرف نائب مناب ad'u. Jamil. Wa adawatuhu thamanin. The adawat, the articles that are used for constructing this nida, they are 8. You have the ya, and then hamza, like and then you have I, and then you have with a mud, then you have I with a mud of the alif, and then you have aya is popular like ya, and even the I, the hamza, they are popular, but the ones that are not so popular is the and then the I. They are not so popular. We hear ayaman yadda'i al-fahm, ayaman, we hear stuff like that. And then haya is also part of the adawatu nida, and then we have wa, jamil. And then he says fal hamzatu wa ay lil qarib. Using the hamza and the I is for calling somebody that is close. So somebody is very close to you, is Muhammad. Okay, you have something like Aradwan, Awalad. You just use the for the nida, or ay bunay. Okay, like we have in the advice of the, is it Yamama or something like that? Ay bunayya innaki faraktik ushak allati kunti fi, stuff like that. There was some advice like that. I, and then we see it a lot. So the I and the hamza, they are used for the munada, that is qarib. The one you are calling is close to you. And then وَغَيْرُهُمَا, and all the others are used for ba'id. So somebody is far, you use ya, you use you use I, you use aya. Okay, you use haya for somebody that is far. And then even the wa, though the wa is an article of lamentation, not really nida. It is an article of lamentation. It is like you have somebody that is dead or something like that, then you say wa Muhammad. It is an article that is used for expressing pain, expressing your lamentation over somebody that you've lost or something like that. Jamil. And then he says, قد ينزل البعيد منزلة القريب فينادى بالهمزة وأي. He says, قد ينزل البعيد, the one that is far, could be brought close, could be considered to be close. ينزل البعيد منزلة القريب, the one that is far could be considered to be close. And so the call, the article of calling, we use the one that is for the qarib. So somebody is far, instead of saying ya or I, then we just say I, then we just say something like you can see the person you are calling is very far. You have considered the person to be close. The person is far, all right, but then for some other secondary meanings, for some other secondary reasons, you yourself have brought the person close in your mind. He says we do that إشارة إلى أنه لشدة استحضاره في ذهن المتكلم صار كالحاضر معه. Said this is to show you that due to the severeness, شدة استحضاره, due to the severeness of drawing the person's presence, في ذهن المتكلم, in the mind of the one speaking, صار كالحاضر, the one that is being called has become like somebody that is here. So I'm calling somebody very far, but I use the Hamza. So Muhammad is far, then I say, Muhammad. Ala kaza kaza kaza. Muhammad, ta'al. The person is far away, even maybe in another country. But when I use that in proper Arabic literature, check and see. There is an item of the person being present in the mind or in the heart. So due to that severeness in presence of the heart or the mind, the person is considered as being close and is called with something, the articles of the person that is close. كقول الشاعر, like the poet says in his بحر الطويل, أسكان نعمان الأراكي تيقنوا بأنكم في ربيع قلبي سكان. He says, أسكان نعمان الأراكي, oh you residents of Nu'man al-Arak, you residents of this particular place. He used to call them, but he is far away from them. But then look at what he says. He said, تَيَقَّنُوا, be rest assured, بِأَنَّكُمُ, that you people, في ربع قلبي, in the core of my heart, سُكَّانُ, you are resident. So even though you are سُكَّانُ نُعْمَانِ الْعَرَاقِ, but know for sure that you are residents in my heart. So you see that the reason he uses the Hamza here, his own, he actually mentions that they are present in his heart. So that is what we mean. So the one that is ba'id could be brought close in terms of due to the person's presence in the heart or the person present in the mind, or maybe certain other secondary reasons. And then he says, وَقَدْ يُنَزَّلُ الْقَرِيبُ مَنْزِلَةَ الْبَعِيدِ, the one that is close to could be considered to be far. فَيُنَادَى بِأَحَدِ الْحُرُوفِ الْمَوْضُوعَةِ لَهُ, the one that is close could be considered to be far, and so calling on somebody right by me, then I use the munada, the adawatun nida lil ba'id. It says فَيُنَادَى بِأَحَدِ الْحُرُوفِ الْمَوْضُوعَةِ لَهُ, أي الحروف الموضوعة لنداء البعيد. Why do we do that? إشارة, pointing to إلى أن المنادى عظيم الشأن. This could be one of the reasons. Even though the person is close to you, but the person is عظيم الشأن, is on a higher status. The person is a king, the person is president, the person is some higher person. So even though the person is close, you call the person with the adawatun nida lil azim. So you see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ana aqrabu ilayhi min hablil warid. Allah is closer to us than our jugular vein. But when we are calling Allah, we say, Ya Rahman, Ya Allah, Ya Kareem, Ya Ghafoor. Why do we use Ya? Why don't we use Hamza lil Qareeb? Why don't we use I lil Qareeb? It is pointing to the Azim, the Izm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Azma of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Jameel. And so we say, we use that. And then also Rafi'ul Martaba, somebody being of a higher status. In such a case, حتى كأن بعد درجته, to some extent that the person's fartherness in terms of level في العظم عن درجة المتكلم, due to the person's level being farther from the level of the one speaking, it is considered to be بعد في المسافة. It's considered to be a fartherness in terms of distance. So again, the person is very close, but due to the person's status, the person is a king, I am the one speaking, I'm a commoner. So due to the status, it is considered in the mind that the person is actually far from me in terms of distance, but he's not far in terms of distance. So this is the ma'ani balaghiya that sometimes you get from these things. كقولك, like you say for instance, أيا مولاي جميل وأنت معه, you are with your sheikh or you are with your kin or anything like that, and you hear them say Ya Mawlai, Aya Mawlai. Mawlai is just here, but why are you using the adawatu nida lil ba'id? Because of the ruf'a fil martaba, okay, أو the azam fi sha'n. Says أو إشارة إلى انحطاط درجته. This is what all that we said is one face of it. You could also be calling somebody that is close to you with the adawatu nida lil ba'id due to isharatan ila inhitati darajatihi, pointing to the fact that the person's level has fallen below yours. Okay, so I'm a lecturer. Let's say for instance, I'm a lecturer, then my student or maybe somebody that is lower to me, okay, or I'm a kin, my subject, or anything of those kind of examples. So when I'm calling the person, even though the person is close to me, I use the adawatu nida lil ba'id. Say ya khadim, oh you servant. The ya is for lil ba'id, but the servant is close to me. He is far in terms of daraja, in terms of the level. Jami. Say kakawlike aya haza, like you tell somebody aya haza. Okay, looking down on the person. Liman huwa ma'aka, somebody that is with you, then you call the person aya haza. The person is not far away for you to say aya haza, Jamil, but then in terms of the person's level has fallen down below yours, and so you use that on the person. أو إشارة, or again إشارة إلى أن السامع غافل. Also, you use the adawatul nida lil ba'id for somebody that is close because of the person's unconsciousness, because of the person's lack of attention. So you are sitting with somebody, the person is dozing off. Ya Muhammad, Ya Redwan, Ya. Because the person is dozing off, you consider the person to be far from reality, and so you use the adawatu nida lil ba'id for the person. So it says if the person is unconscious, linahu, for example, something like sleeping, something like dhuhul, the person is extremely astonished. Okay, something happened and the person is shocked. The person is like, what? The person is gone into the shock mode. Jamil. كأنه غير حاضر في المجلس. It's as if the person is not present in the majlis. You are sitting in a majlis, the person is dozing off or something like that. The person is completely struck out. Then you use something like that. كقولك للساهي, like you tell somebody that is unconscious, somebody that is not paying attention, or somebody that is off. Aya fulan, aya fulan. Even though the person is close to you, but you use that style of nida to click the person back into alert. So basically all that this topic is about is to tell you that the nida that you learned, there are some adawatu nida that is for qarib, which is the hamza and the ay, and the others, they are for ba'id. But whenever you see the ba'id being used for the qarib and the qarib being used for the ba'id, these are the reasons as outlined here. You have to make sure you pay attention to it and know that, okay, this munada is close, but he's being called with the adawatu nida lil ba'id because the person is this, that, and this adds to our understanding of literature. It adds to our understanding of the Quran. inshallah. May Allah grant us beneficial knowledge. Allahumma allimna ma yanfa'una وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.